Gang, for over a year now, I've been talking about True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD oils and how they've reduced my anxiety and helped me get better sleep without waking up feeling foggy and confused. I've also talked about the full spectrum CBD bombs that relieved my hand pain last year and made playing piano and guitar much easier. Well, gang, today I'm going to tell you about True Hemp Science organic gummies made with full spectrum hemp oil that are available now. They come in two different gauges. There are 50 milligram ones that have 50 milligrams of CBD and 1.5 milligrams of THC. Then there are ones that are 100 milligrams of CBD and 5 milligrams of THC. Absolutely delicious lemon lime / orange flavors and also watermelon black cherry flavors. Super, super delicious. Now, they also have a complete line of full spectrum CBD products, including oils, tinctures, skincare lotions, sports rubs, chocolates, gummies, all kinds of stuff. Well, gang, How Did I Get Here has teamed up with True Hemp Science to bring you a very special offer that benefits all of us. Spend $100 or more at truehempscience.com and you will get a free gift. Just enter the code HDIGH at checkout. There's a little code placed there for you to enter it, HDIGH, and you will get a free gift with purchase. That's right. Go to truehempscience.com and balance your body and mind with True Hemp Science. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here are your hosts,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny, I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good week so far. I've had a really good week. I've been firing on all cylinders. In fact, Wednesday, I did all of the jobs I do. I did. I work with Austin Music Foundation with their artist development program as a mentor. I had a meeting of that in the morning at 10 a.m. Then 11:30, rehearsal with Skyrocket. Then 2:30 p.m., podcast with this band Ocean Alley from Australia. You hear that in a couple weeks. Great band, man. Look them up, Ocean Alley. And then at 4:30, songwriting with a friend of mine. So I did all of the things. A lot of shit this week. Even in one day, I did a lot of them. Hey, gang, speaking of Skyrocket and that rehearsal that we did, we were rehearsing for our big show that we have tonight, Friday, January 20th. If you're listening to this show the day that it comes out, Skyrocket is playing tonight in Austin at 310 Austin City Limits Live. Fantastic place to see us. I'm not going to lie, man. We have a huge video component with our show, and they have an amazing LED screen, and we always have, traditionally, we have really great shows there. Hopefully this will be great. If you have not gotten tickets, you can go to 310austin.com for all of your ticket needs. And if you want to find out more about Skyrocket, you can go to skyrockettheband.com. Yeah, so yeah, it's been a good week. I'm looking forward to that show tonight. I'm very, very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. I'm also very excited about the show I have today, gang. Oh my God. So, oh God. Where do I start with this? Okay, so my friend Salim Nourallah, amazing songwriter, performer, producer, purveyor of vintage suits. Amazing, just a sweetheart all around, and just a guy that is out there collaborating and staying engaged with all these people. He's produced records for Old 97s. He's produced records for my friend Billy Harvey, tons and tons of records for tons of bands. And he reached out to me a couple of months ago and said, hey, do you know Marty Willson-Piper, the guy that played guitar with the church? And I was like, do I know Marty Willson-Piper? I love Marty Willson-Piper. Are you crazy? And he said, well, I'm doing a record with Marty Willson-Piper, and we're going to do a Texas tour. We're coming to Austin in January. Love to stop by and both of us do the show. Woof! My head exploded. I freaked out. Thank you, Salim Nourallah, for coming on the show again, because it's always inspiring to talk to you. But he's producing a record right now for the great Marty Willson-Piper, from the church, from All About Eve, and from so many different things. It's so interesting to get to meet this guy that you've been listening to his stuff forever. I'm a huge fan of the record Starfish by the church. I don't know all their stuff, but he was in the church from 1980 until about 2013. And in in this conversation, I'm sorry, I have to laugh because he never says the name the church, but when he says the X band, So I guess it didn't end well. I didn't really delve too deeply into it because I just loved talking to him so much, and I was so excited for him to be here. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. So terrible journalism on my part, but also just regular hangability. That's what I want to do, is hang out. I don't want to make a guy feel bad. But when he talks about the X band, he's talking about the church, and he's the guy. He's the guy on Reptile that plays the thing at the beginning that you love so much, that you play air guitar along. If you're around my age, if you were around in 1988, and you were like a person that was into alternative music, they were a band that came out and just kicked you in the nuts. Under the Milky Way is such an amazing song. It's such an amazing recording. It's such an amazing performance by the band on that song. Just gorgeous, gorgeous song. Anyway, getting to talk to Marty was really fantastic. He also, he played guitar on this record, one of my very favorite Jules Shear records. Jules Shear is one of my very favorite songwriters. There's so much to him. Jules Shear, if you don't know him, look him up. I don't have time to explain it. But there was a record called The Third Party that's just guitar and vocal. And it's Jules singing, and it's Marty Willson-Piper playing guitar. He's also, he co-wrote the song Could Have Been Anyone on Aimee Mann's first album, Whatever. Charlie Sexton covered his song I Can't Cry on his second album. Just tons of, he's been out there just so many different projects. Not only is he working with Salim, and he just actually produced a record with Salim called Nuclear Winter, which will be coming out later on this year. But Salim's latest album is See You in Marfa. It's an EP. It's not an album. Sorry. An EP called See You in Marfa. And that was produced by Marty and Salim together. Anyway, good God, there's so much about this dude. Marty's collaborations, Noctorum, Moat, Anecdoton, so many different collaborations. He did a record with Brix Smith called Los Angeles, which is really, really great. I think it came out just like last year. Fantastic stuff. The record that Salim and Marty are making for Marty right now is a pretty stripped down record of sort of his greatest hits. And we have a great conversation about so much stuff. And Marty was kind enough to indulge me by telling me some stories about recording with Jules Shear for The Third Party and how that came about. Because when he found out I was such a fan, he told me all about it. Anyway, I want to thank Salim and Marty for coming by. Also, Marty's wife, Olivia, came by. She wasn't on the microphones, but she was here, and they do a lot of stuff together as well. That's what... God, there's so much to these people. Like, they're just constantly doing so much stuff, and there's such a giant body of work behind them, and such a giant body of work they're currently working on. Both of them, Salim and Marty. So, okay, not to confuse things, without further ado, this is my fantastic conversation with these two soulful, amazing, prolific artists with a capital A, Salim Nourallah and the legendary Marty Willson-Piper. Let's get down.
Hold on to the night before you let in the day. Hold on to the night before you give it away. So many things that you can do.
Oh, I love your... Is that a fun maker?
It's a fun machine.
Fun machine.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Those are great.
Not gonna lie, it's a fun maker.
Yeah, it's a fun maker. Fun
Yeah.
maker, fun machine. This guy's a fun machine.
You are a fun machine. Man, I've watched so much video of you. Can I tell you this one thing that I've wanted to say from watching like old video?
Yeah.
You made it through the 80s without any like really bad looks. Like you always looked really cool.
What about now?
No, you still look really cool. I'm just saying, like now, people look at you're wearing one of the coolest records of all time on your shirt. So yeah, you're cool.
Yeah, you made it through the 80s.
Oh, I mean to now.
Without any bad looks.
Oh, yeah,
Wait.
yeah. You mean to
Yeah,
now.
without any like sad. Your hair was always cool.
Yeah.
You basically had like a leather jacket and shirt look without like a bolo tie and a trench coat or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know,
That's hilarious.
I've always been optimistic about the universe until I realized on the drive from Dallas to Houston that I've only got 125 months to live.
Best case scenario.
So So it's all downhill from here.
I have to tell. I was.
or it's all pie in the sky until it's downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
I read your journal entry about that drive, and having done that drive for like, I don't know, 40 years.
Yeah.
In my life, it was nice to see somebody's take on it for the first time.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sad, but
Oh yeah.
like the Sonic thing.
Oh, it's Sonic. Yeah. I don't know, these guys. Sarah and Salim. That's where they wanted to go.
Well, we're from, here in
They were
Texas.
in Buffalo, Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, where are you going to go, man? It was the
It's not the vegan
best.
restaurant
Yeah, the whole
capital.
the
of the
whole
world.
It's like the
Foods
American
Cafe.
political system. You just go with the best of two evils.
That's right. Yeah, Whole Foods Cafe was closed in Buffalo that day.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of shit we got to cover.
Yeah.
First of all, I went and listened. I cheated. I don't normally listen to other ones, but I wanted to see what you and Rhett talked about. And I know you guys are really close, so I figured it would be totally different than whatever we would do.
Yeah, for sure.
But I did find out you guys are making a record together. You guys made a record
one,
for
yeah.
Salim together.
Yeah.
And now you've made one for Marty Willson-Piper.
Yeah, well,
So cool you're in my house, dude.
Do you want to clarify all that?
yeah, I am Salim's slave.
That's great.
And he said to me, I should do this acoustic-y thing. And I said, all right. And then I said, well, what am I going to do? And he told me what I was going to do. And I did it. And that's about it, really.
What's it going to be called, Marty?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be called I'm a Really Big Fan of Your Old Stuff.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it old
Well,
stuff?
he curated it. He said that we should make a record of you playing your songs in a kind of an acoustic. I mean, it doesn't mean exactly me singing and playing acoustic guitar, but with the basis of an acoustic format. There's a bit of tinkling on a snare drum, and there's one song with a bass, and there's three songs with maracas.
But you have records like I went through your stuff a lot, and there's records like it's a drum machine and guitar and you singing
in the early days.
In the early days, yeah.
Yeah, I think the goal, what I'm imagining is an old lady with a nice handbag sort of shuffling up to Marty's merch after she's just seen Olivia and Marty play and go, well, so what record should I get that represents what you're all about?
Yeah.
And then you go,
This
one.
Yeah, because the problem with me is that I am a quite eclectic fellow.
You are quite an eclectic
it's not
fellow.
a problem. It's not a problem.
And I got lots of different projects where I have lots of different roles, and sometimes I'm the producer, sometimes I'm the lead guitarist, sometimes I'm the singer, sometimes I'm just a session guy, sometimes I'm the everything guy, and sometimes I'm a side man and happy in all roles, And what happens is we end up making a whole lot of records which aren't representative of another aspect of what I do. And the aspect that I'm doing, like today, I have no representative record of that.
Right.
I mean, I've got records which have the original songs on.
Correct.
That we will be performing tonight, some of them. But the actual way that it's been, I mean, with Olivia playing violin, I got no records with, Olivia plays violin on some of the projects.
Right.
But there's no records with me singing, playing guitar of my own song with Olivia playing the violin throughout. Doesn't exist. So Salim has curated 16 songs for a potential acoustic mood album. I don't mean moody, but the mood of acoustics.
Right.
With Olivia playing violin. And I don't know, we'll use all of them or half of them, whatever, whichever ones we feel turn out well. And then we'll have a representative-ish. And I add ish as well because it's not exactly what we do live, but representative-ish of what we do as a duo.
Right.
And that was his idea.
And your rich history as a songwriter and the variety and all of the things that Marty's done.
And that was why it was good to have Salim be this curator, because he's got a sort of an objectivity about it that I really don't have.
I can understand that. I can totally see that.
And he made me do things that I was like, "You're out of your mind."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
We said we should do this. And I say, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went, "What? Okay, I'll give it a go." And then I went, "Oh, that was a pretty good idea, really."
Well, he was a really good sport about it. You know, it was tons of fun, and it's super cool to just he's singing a song that he hasn't sung in over 30 years, and it just sounds great. Boom. You know.
Was it hard for you, who has such a good like the good time that like your love of recording comes through on your records and records that you produce?
Well, thanks.
Was it hard not to like? Oh, let's
Well, I could double the list.
part.
We could do volume 2.
Right,
I
right.
think you already you had a name for volume 2,
Did I?
but we'll come up with that later. But it was the only hard part was just whittling down to even 16 songs.
I mean, there's a lot of songs over
It's
the
a lot of
years.
songs.
Yeah.
So I was also trying to think too of what the fans like, because I have friends who are fans.
Yeah.
And to think, oh well, you know, we did Russian Autumn Hard.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
to see their eyes get big, like, what? What? Or, you know,
Yeah,
we did-
yeah.
Which obviously is an impossible song to do
Yeah.
acoustic,
Yeah.
which I would never choose in a million
No.
years.
That's-
You know,
That's
so
when he was calling me mad.
that's why I was calling him a madman.
But Olivia did put some really cool strings on it too, and it's just going to be so cool. I can't wait for the people, because I'm already getting that gauge from friends of like, oh, you did that one? Oh man,
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you know, with Olivia, the violin, anything that I've recorded in the past, in the decades of the past, as soon as you add Olivia into it, I mean, I've not been in a band with a violin.
Yeah.
So reinterpreting songs with an instrument that was never there is kind of a valid reason to do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like just a going through the motions or just, you know, playing the chords on the acoustic and singing it. I mean, there's an instrument there which adds gravitas. It
Right.
It adds soul, and and it's a beautiful yearning instrument.
Yes.
And adding that to these songs that was never in these songs,
Right.
makes it all kind of really worthy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So yeah, that coupled with the record that Marty helped me and my band with 4 years ago now.
4 years ago.
And we've been waiting also 4 years to.
And that's Nuclear Winter.
Yeah, Nuclear Winter.
But the Marfa,
that was, so those were tracks. See You in Marfa, the See You in Marfa EP,
sorry.
which came out in August, were 5 songs that were part of those recording sessions. But I guess they were sort of outliers to me, because See You in Marfa is like a weird track for me. It doesn't, it's like the closest I've ever, I dare say, come to the Eagles.
Yeah.
And that's not really what I do. That's not like my bag.
Right.
But it was this track. So like to me, it didn't really fit in on the album. And then we had another one called Hold On to the Night, which I loved. I loved the way it turned out and the guitars that Joe and Marty did. But that was another one that was sort of this almost like Beatles jaunt. And it, I don't know, you know,
Well, you got to make decisions about how your record runs.
Yeah.
It's like doing a set list live. You've got to decide how does it work, what's supposed to happen, the dynamics of a live show or of a record, and how it, you know, album song order is an art in itself.
totally.
I agree with that.
Totally.
And I'm a total throwback to that. So like when the album cover title and idea came together, like, you know, there's a tundra, a frozen tundra on the cover. You don't really think about Marfa.
No.
And Marfa is also such a Texas thing.
Yeah.
Like we did a live stream at the Mucky Duck, and they were doing a computer interpretation of the words. Did you guys see this?
That wasn't on the
And
feed
it was
I saw.
my song was "See You and Martha."
Oh, God.
See You and Martha.
Oh, no.
So the computer was totally baffled. The interpreter was baffled by Martha.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people might be.
Yeah.
You know, so Yeah, the EP. I'm really. I love the
It's
EP
great.
actually.
By the way,
Thank you.
It's really it's really
Thank you.
lovely. Sorry,
Thank you. Rosie likes
she loves
the
you.
EP too.
Rosie
Yeah.
down.
See you.
It's interesting that you do you come across the same thing as well, that when you go make a record and you put all the bells and whistles on it, then you go do a bunch of shows by yourself acoustic, then people are like, it happens. They pick up your thing and they're like, I like what you did when you were by yourself, way better.
Yeah.
I don't like that weird synthesizer.
Well, it works both ways, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it totally works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, rolling out the songs live, you finally get to feel that connection or not, or like a song lands or it doesn't.
Right.
And you can imagine whether a song will land or not, but you don't really know, right, until you actually roll it out. So that's also what 4 years later, I'm just now in the last 2 days beginning to roll out these songs and see, well, that felt pretty good, or that was that it might have worked on the record, but live.
Tom Petty said something about this. He said, songs are strange creatures. They a song that you have which you think is pretty good, by the time you get to record it, and the song that you didn't think was, it was all right, they change places.
Yeah.
They change places, and suddenly something kind of like evolves somehow.
Yeah.
And it's flowers.
Yeah.
And the song that you were like, well, I'm pretty excited about this one, you sort of like, I don't know if that's really working,
Yeah.
So you kind of never know with songs. They have little personalities, and they sort of make demands on you about what they want to be fed.
Yeah.
And you never quite know until you get in the studio. And then when you get in the studio and you got a song that records really well, then you come to play it live.
Right.
And you go, this isn't really working live.
Yeah.
You have a couple.
I got a couple like that. I've got I got this song "She's King."
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a G and a D. I wrote it when I was really stoned in New Zealand in 1980 something. We had a Maori driver who gave us this really, 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 really strong pot, and everybody got smashed. And I went back to my hotel room and wrote that song in an hour. And it's quite straightforward, but it was kind of a catchy song. I even did a video for it. And
Yeah.
liked
MTV.
it. It's on MTV, it's a funny thing. I've always tried to play it live, and it always sounds like it's not working.
But of course, that's one that
he picked it.
gotta do. She's
So he
King.
picked it. And we worked, that was probably the one we worked on the most. We changed the key twice.
Yeah.
We re-recorded it. We started it, recorded it, re-recorded it.
Do you know it seems like you sing higher now than you did when you in your early records to me.
That's
Is that
an
weird?
illusion.
It's an illusion?
Well, no, do you know what? It's interesting he says that because...
I might be only referring to your first record, and I don't know if it was because you were in a band with that dude.
No, I think there's... Yeah, that's true.
Really
But I think
singing
there's-
like this all the time?
I think there's something in that because, okay, there's a couple of responses to that. One is that I was in a band with a lead singer who sang very low.
Yeah.
So, the mood of things was kind of lower.
Yeah.
You didn't come into the studio and say, hey guys, I've come up with a great idea for a song. And they say, okay, let's hear it then, in their sort of tone that they would say, oh yeah, okay. And then you sit down and say, here it is.
Yeah.
You're not going to start. Baby. You're not going to be singing it to them like that, But since I quit that band, I do sing out more.
Yeah.
Having said that, certain songs I can't reach anymore.
I can see that. Yeah.
So it's the question. The answer to your question is both things.
Right.
Some songs I can't reach, and some songs I project more as a singer.
Yeah.
So they kind of come across more powerfully, and like hopes and fears,
Yeah.
or where I'm singing da 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 da.
Well, if I could jump in, I might throw in just like that's interesting. But one thing that struck me when I first started listening to the church was I really liked that it was absolutely, it was so easy to identify when Marty was singing. Mm-hmm. And there are some bands that drive me crazy. Like when you first get into them, you're like, they've got 2 or 3 singers?
Right.
I can't tell them apart.
Right.
But it was cool. My first memory of a Marty song was a song called Volumes that I wanted to do on this collection because I felt like it really gave you a sense of who he was, like books and a different voice and a little more playful, and maybe like it was a really good song for like establishing who you kind of are as an artist. And I just always thought that and a different vocal approach, like Spark. Yeah. It's like nothing else on Starfish. Yeah. You know, I'm saturated, wet with your tears. You know, Spark. Yeah. It's like wow. Yeah. So, it still worked, but it was definitely like, and now here's Marty.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But it was cool.
But as you
another
commented,
dimension.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, though, as Salim commented at breakfast today, I've also got songs like "Will I Start to Bleed," which shows actually a huge range. One of the things about the X band, which was always a bit kind of an issue for me, was that it always felt like it was attempting the same trick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, I love that the Cocteau Twins were always attempting the same trick, and I love that Kraftwerk were always attempting the same trick. And bring it on. Right. You know? But I also love that the Beatles weren't always attempting the same trick. Right. You know?
They wouldn't stay on a trick for half a second.
Yeah, that's right. And I always kind of felt like I wanted to be able to go in all different directions. Musically, creatively, discovery. You know, that's why I can find myself happily being the bass player in the band, or being the lead singer, or being the producer, or or being the co-writer, whatever it is. You know, catering, ironing.
It also
ironing.
It also seems like that's what can keep all of us engaged as we get older. Like Salim, you and I are the same age. You're a bit older than us, not that much.
I'm 65 this year.
Yeah, you're 10 years older, but it's
looking 10 younger than us.
Yeah, but you it seems like you're able to. Even this, there was a record that I loved that I found a couple of Los Angeles, the Brix Smith album. Yeah. It's like the energy coming from you on those on that record's unbelievable.
Well, there you go. You know, I made a record with Brix Smith from The Fall.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, really. I co-wrote all the songs, or most of them. Yeah, 95% of them probably. Played the guitar.
Co-wrote with Aimee Mann.
Yeah, co-wrote with Aimee Mann.
That's a great. I love that song, by the way. That Whatever album, I love those first two records. And let me just say this: fuck. What? I told a friend of mine I wouldn't say it until 30 minutes into the podcast because he said it was the first thing I was going to say. The Third Party is one of my favorite records. That's where I learned who you were. Like I'd heard The Church and I was into it. I didn't know your name. Yeah. But then I remember asking a friend of mine that worked at Cactus Records in Houston. Yeah. Okay, first of all, Marty Willson-Piper, those kind of names like that, the Eaton Hog, my friend Mark Younger-Smith, those are just awesome sounding names.
He's got one of the best rock and roll names.
Totally one of the best rock and roll names.
Right. So I would have got nowhere if I'd just had, a normal name.
Yeah, I was like, who is this
Murray
dude?
Potter Wilson?
Yeah.
I was like, who is this dude? Why are the chords in this? Like, there's no record you buy that has the chords like along with the lyrics. So awesome.
You know what that record is all about? Oh my! Have you got a couple of minutes?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? This is what my friend was like. Yeah. You're gonna just freak out on. Don't just freak out on Jules Shear.
Okay.
Jules with them.
Jules is a mate of mine, and he was managed by the same guy. And you might have seen the Unplugged.
Yep. Yeah.
Where Jules and I sang "Rain."
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So. I don't see him very often. He lives in Woodstock, and, once every 6 years I'll say, Jules, Marty, you around? And I might see him for a coffee, and he might come to a gig if I'm playing in Woodstock, Right. So it's not like I'm in contact with him all the time. But whenever I'm with him, he's a lovely man, and I've always really got on really strongly with, really well with him. One day, I was in Stockholm where I was living at the time, and he got in touch, and he said, I'm going to come to Stockholm, and I'm going to make a record there, and I want you to play guitar on it. And I went, okay. And he said, I've got all the songs, and because he's a very prolific songwriter. And but the thing is that I'm going to have to translate how I play the songs to how you would play them, because the way I play guitar...
Weird.
Yeah. So he plays the guitar upside down, with the strings upside down, with the guitar tuned to an impossible selection of notes, and he plays it with the chord shapes from above the neck.
Yes, so weird.
It's so weird, but that's how he writes, and that's how, and he's a great songwriter, you know. But he said, I can't really do that on the record because it makes me sound like an old blues guy. Right? So he wanted me, who's kind of like, you know, in inverted commas, a proper guitarist, to be the guitarist, and he'd sing the songs. So he arrived with these chord sheets, and obviously I was playing lots of 12 strings at the time, I always have, and he said, I want you to play this guitar. He gave me the guitar, which was his wife's Taylor 6-string.
Wow.
He said, I want you to play this guitar, here's the chord sheets, and here's the songs. And I had to play translating those chords to a normal guitar shapes. Oh my God, there were like crazy chord sequences that you'd never ever make up yourself, because they were from weird land, you know. And it was one of the hardest records I ever made, actually, because there was no click track, there was no other musician. It was just me playing on a strange guitar somebody else's songs with weird chords. I had to be the timing, you know, the feeling, and execute them. And then he came in and sang them. I mean, it worked out great. And he gave me a, you know, co-production credit or something. And it was a lovely experience. And it was snowing in Stockholm, and you know, it was a fantastic experience making that record with him.
Did it ever make it to vinyl though?
I think it was on. I don't know, it was on IRS or something, wasn't
it was on IRS.
I think it was on IRS. Yeah, I've got a vinyl copy of it.
You do?
Yeah.
So you guys should tell the listeners what the full title of the album,
it's
just in case
The Third Party.
I think it's just under his name, isn't it?
Jules Shear, The Third Party.
Jules Shear, The Third Party. Yeah.
It's classic for sure.
Yeah, I love that record. Thank you for sharing that story, man. This is great. Also, my friend Dave will get off my back.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't, he'll win $5
Get
or
off
whatever.
Johnny's back, Dave.
Oh, dude, there was one song, I Can't Cry.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is it on the record we're working on?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. He made me do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like that one?
Yeah. I heard the Charlie Sexton version first, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a friend of mine, but I heard that version first.
Ah, okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I recorded it because he did. I think that's what happened. I wrote it, and I was working on a project in Sweden with a guy, and we got together in over a period, and we wrote 15 songs together. And a couple of them, I came to him in that period, and we demoed them as well as the ones we wrote together.
Yeah.
So we had 15 songs, and one of them that we demoed was that one. The other one was, I think it was Kiss You to Death, which ended up on Spirit Level. So we used to... It's a really stupid story. He got signed to CBS in Sweden as a solo artist, and every week we'd go to the publishing company with a new song, and we'd go to the Swedish CBS, and they were all like, wow, yeah, that's great. You guys should write some more songs. And then we'd come back the next week with another song. Say, yeah, that's we really like that one. You should write some more songs. And they kept on saying that and kept on saying it. In the meantime, you know, he's selling, he's singing in Swedish and selling very small amount of records. I was in the band that was selling, you know, 400,000 albums. And they never, ever offered us any kind of deal or any support in any way at all, except for telling us how great what we were doing was. You know, typical record company non-committal, you know. But as it happened, because I'd worked with Bob Clearmountain on the Blurred Crusade album.
Right.
And he'd mixed Of Skins and Heart, the first two X-Band albums. I sort of he's a lovely man as well, so I'd sort of kept in touch with him. In fact, I have lost touch with him now, but for a while I was in touch with him. I sent him a tape of the songs we were doing, and he got back to me and he said, I'm working with Charlie Sexton. I think he was doing Tony Berg.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Bob was co-producing it with Tony Berg.
I know Tony produced that second record.
Yeah. Or Bob was mixing it, but Bob was involved somehow. And he got the track to Tony Berg, and Tony Berg, there was 2 songs we actually sent that got sent to him, and Charlie really liked I Can't Cry.
Yeah.
And they recorded it, and suddenly I had this track on Charlie Sexton album, you know. And after I heard it, I thought, shit, I should record that.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Joni Mitchell, doesn't it? With the
Woodstock?
No, with the
Put Up a Parking Lot? Oh, this is killing me because you're looking at me like I should know and now I feel like I'm letting you down.
Our House.
No, the Circle Game. The Circle Game.
Yeah.
The Circle Game.
What is that?
Circle Game is a famous Joni Mitchell song that was recorded by Buffy Sainte-Marie and the guy that wrote No Regrets. Mm-hmm. He recorded it as well. And she recorded it afterwards, 3 or 4 albums later. So, anyway, the Circle Game, that's the same situation.
Yeah.
And you write a song, another artist records it on their record, and you go, oh, that was a pretty good song.
Yeah.
I should have done that one.
Yeah.
And so when it came to Spirit Level, and that's probably why Kiss You to Death was on Spirit Level as well, because it was from the same period.
Yeah.
I recorded it as well. And Salim, when he was curating Torturing Me in the studio, that was one of the ones he came up with. And the interesting thing about that one is it's another one which works great in the studio. I just can't get it to work live. It always feels like, I don't know what's going on here. But whenever I hear it, and whenever any recorded version of it, my own original, Charlie's version, the one we've done, it always sounds like, oh, great, this is a really good one. Strong song, everything's happening. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work live. I mean, maybe lots of musicians, artists, singers, songwriters have that issue. Sometimes their songs just don't translate. But yeah, thanks, Charlie.
Yeah,
Say
you're
hi.
welcome. Okay, I will. Wait, there was you played You Whisper at the Mucky Duck the other night.
Yes.
And that was a song that hearing the old recorded version and the new version, I thought your version live, I was like, wow, I feel like this one might actually be more powerful.
And we've recorded that one too.
Good.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of hard not to. That's a really fucking great. That might be one of your best songs.
Well, yeah, it's a sort of
like just song wise, it just has like a certain thing to it.
It's kind of distinctive with that descending acoustic 12-string arpeggio, and it's kind of got very sort of pretty lyrics and stuff. Nice melody, great with the violin, of course, as well.
Yeah.
That
It's very Marty.
Really helps it.
What's the song that you guys open with that has like the little television
Tristesse.
things?
Oh, Tristesse, yeah.
Tristesse.
Yeah, that's a song from the X-Band from the Heyday album.
That's a great song.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I really like singing that song. In fact, when we did acoustic versions of X-Band songs, you know,
By X-Band, he means the church.
that song... that song we did, and I sang it on the acoustic versions of the albums, even though the singer sang it on the original album.
Right.
So I was always kind of fond of singing that song. I really like lyrics he wrote for that song, and I wrote the riff, of course, but I always kind of enjoyed the structure of that song, the melody, the lyrics, the riff, all the parts. It was always kind of a super cool tune, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you two meet? You and
there's a long version. I'll try to tell it quickly, but there's a Dallas legend, Big Bucks Burnett. Big Bucks, he used to manage Tiny Tim.
Okay, that's badass.
He was Ronnie Lane's houseboy briefly, and good pal of Jimmy Page and Pete Townsend and Andy Partridge. And Bucks, when I moved to Denton way back in the late 80s, Bucks had a record store in Denton called 14 Records. And I was growing my hair out and had a band with my brother, and would, after class, would usually go to 14 Records. And one fateful afternoon, I had the Go-Betweens Liberty Bell tucked under my arm and the tantalized 12-inch single with Marty.
Yeah.
And
Looking cool on the
looking
cover.
cool, yeah, in his size 27 jeans. And Bucks looked at me as he rang it up, and it was probably like, $10. And he said, you look like you're in a band. And I went, oh, yeah, of course I am. Yeah, I'm in a band. He said, you guys have a demo tape? And I said, oh, yeah, we have a demo tape. Ran home, burst into the apartment. Guys, we got to make a demo tape for the guy in the record shop. So we worked on our demo tape for a month, and I brought it back cue Ennio Morricone, come into the record shop. Here's the demo tape. And that little demo tape had a song called Desert City Sleeps, which was a song about, kind of inspired by El Paso, which is where my brother and I were raised. And anyway, that song, he gave it to his friend Patrick Keel, who had a record label called Dragon Street Records, and he ran it with a guy named David Denard, these guys were a rhythm section. They played with Christopher Cross, and David played with Gary Myrick in the Figures, and he was a bass player. And Patrick was a drummer. Yeah. And Patrick was a drummer and looked like a miniature version of John Lennon, and cool guys, and they really liked our demo. And they gave it to a local radio personality, George Gamark, who you probably maybe have heard of. He was with The Edge.
Okay,
they were the big when alternative radio was.
I was on one of those compilations.
Yeah, Tales from the Edge.
Yeah.
So George said, if you end up making a good recording of this song, Desert City Sleeps, and you get all your ducks in a row, I'll play it. So they already had the big DJ in town that said he'd play our song. So anyway, it was the beginning of my professional, air quotes, career. So big bucks. And then we've been friends for years. So now move over to the church. We're going back to like maybe 80 or 81. You'll know. They played, your first gig in Dallas ever was 80 or 81. You tell me, I'm fishing.
Sounds a bit early.
It was at a
Fast and Cool Club?
Fast and Cool Club. Yeah. On Upper Greenville Avenue in Dallas.
Wow.
So I would have been in El Paso at the point. I didn't know anything about that club. But Bucks was one of the contingent of fans who first saw them and got to be friends.
Yeah, well, sure. Bucks is a talkative, interesting, extrovert guy with lots of enthusiasm and really liked us and is a big music lover, and so we sort of were fast friends,
Yeah. So he'd known Marty since Fast and Cool Club in the early 80s, and in 2018, at the very beginning of 2018, Bucks messaged me and said, hey, Marty's coming to Texas, he's looking for an acoustic show. I told him that your place would be great, because at the time I was having shows in my recording studio, Pleasantry Lane, and I would have 2 or 3 show. Miles Inigas played there, a bunch of people over the years, and so I said, yeah, I'd love to have Marty come play. And so he and Olivia played in January of 2018, and we just hit it off. He's born in May, I'm born in May. He's all about just music, anything music, and he's up for it, and I kind of feel like I'm the same way, and we just hit it off, and then went, well, you should come back. We should do more things. And then I started thinking, well, what could we do? Well, what if you produce this album, band album, and kind of join our band, because I've got this great band with John Dufalo from Death Ray Davies and Jason Garner, Richard Martin, Joe Reyes from Buttercup. And I thought, well, Joe and Marty as an electric
That'd be
guitar
really cool.
session.
Yeah.
Whew,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
cool.
know, that's an exciting prospect, right? And so we booked a studio in Nashville called Welcome to 79 in September of 18, and we set up a tour, a Texas tour with Marty and this new friend, a guy named Danny Green, who goes by Laish, Laish, which I recommend you check out, and any of your listeners. I had heard him on Spotify that year and just sent him a message like, you're effing great. Want to come to Texas and play? I didn't know him.
Right.
You know, not friends with him at all. So we just hit it off right away, like Marty and Danny and I, and we went on this tour and we recorded the album, and then Marty and Olivia were supposed to come back in 2020,
Right.
and we all know what happened. So we've just been waiting it out. Like, we've kept in touch, and we Skype regularly, and
You guys live in Portugal?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
That's amazing, huh?
Yeah.
did I get all the facts right?
I think you got them right. And Danny actually ended up recording one of my songs.
Yeah, he did.
And did
Oh,
a
yeah?
video for it.
He did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's funny.
Yeah.
How did you do? You wrote that song with Aimee Mann, right?
And
you wrote it
Jules,
with
yeah.
her and Jules.
And, well, I wrote
the
it
one
with
that you wrote.
Jules. We wrote the music with Jules, and then
Oh, okay.
Jules sent it to Aimee because they used to be an item.
Right.
Jules and Aimee, and he sent it to her, and
She has good taste in dudes.
yeah,
I kind of
Dudes.
know her. There's a photo. She sang on a record of mine, and
Yeah.
my old A&R guy played drums with her for a
right.
few years. But she does. She like went out with him, John Bryan, and then married Michael Penn.
That's
It's like,
right.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
Well, and we were talking about
100% great.
Johnny, you and I love Lions and Ghosts.
Yes.
And Michael Lockwood was
Play
working.
guitar, yeah.
Well, he was working in a guitar shop. I forget. It's a famous LA shop, but he was kind of almost out of music. But then he ended up getting the Aimee Mann gig.
That's right.
And then married to Lisa Marie Presley, and
Wow.
and you know, so but like I remember
How did
talking
they
to
even
Michael
meet?
in the early '90s, and it's like, I'm just I'm working in a guitar shop. I'm not really playing much anymore. And then, but so Aimee Mann was the. You'd have to ask Michael. You'll have to have him back on and see how he met Aimee. But I think it was maybe through John.
No, I meant, how did he meet Lisa Marie? Like, I
Oh,
could
I don't
see
know.
how
You'd
he
have
would
to
meet
ask him.
Amy. Like, that's just normal.
Yeah.
But like, what was
I don't
like
know.
Lisa Marie hanging out at Largo?
I have no
You know what I
idea.
mean? Like, that
Yeah.
just. Do you ever play there? You ever part of that Largo scene?
I have done. Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Who
John
won-
Bryan?
No,
guy.
Flanagan.
Flanny.
Yeah.
Flanny. Yeah.
Flanny.
Yeah. I've only been there once since it's moved from where it originally was.
Yeah, I like the original place.
Yeah, the new place is kind of like a theatre, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw Suzanne Vega there, so I've only seen Flanny once since in the years since it was moved.
Yeah.
So I haven't played there. No, not the new one.
No.
No,
The old one was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
I played at Genghis Cohen last time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't that across the street from the old one?
I think it's really close to
What's
it.
What's the deli? The
what?
deli across the street. The famous one.
I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
whatever.
we're getting old. Memories slipping. Cantors, is it?
Cantors.
Cantors,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, right.
I've been there a few times.
Salim for the win.
Yeah,
Salim.
yeah, Cantors, yeah.
He knows where to get the good chicken soup in Los Angeles, man.
At 4 a.m.
Yeah.
4 a.m. Man, let me ask you a few of these different projects. The Noctorum one that you do with Dare Mason. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
That's gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, that's eclectic.
Yeah.
That's 4 albums we've made. But Dare's kind of semi-retired from music. He had a studio. He's kind of been a top-notch engineer for years, and he worked at the Virgin Townhouse Studios in London. He would be assistant on a Prince record or a David Sylvian record or a Ravi Shankar record, or he'd be the tape op on a Paul McCartney record and something like that. So he was in a major studio learning his trade with big producers, and he eventually became a top-notch producer and engineer himself. But then he kind of decided to go and live in the country, and he opened a studio there and did a lot of work with local bands, which he got kind of really bored with.
Yeah.
But I've known him since I was like 5 or 6 years old. Our parents were friends.
Oh, cool.
So, we've known each other for 60 years.
Wow.
Or something like that. But one day he said to me, I don't want to do this anymore. And he sold all his equipment. And recently he said to me, maybe I do want to do it some more. Not exactly like that.
And then he
Sorry,
said,
Dad,
good
if
luck
you're listening.
booking me, baby.
Yeah.
Salim's got me. He's a slave driver.
No, the thing is with Dare is I don't think he wanted to do all that sitting in a studio sorting out somebody's demo.
Yeah.
For hours and hours when the
just
sun
come to Texas
when,
with her.
Yeah, when the sun was shining, when he could be playing cricket, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now he's thinking of getting back into mixing things. That's what I think he's going to do. But anyway, the point is we made 4 albums together, and we started another one, and he kind of lost interest in being a guy sitting in the cellar. And hopefully he's going to get more enthusiasm back to finish that record that we started.
Yeah.
But the whole project has been really strong and interesting, and we've done some great songs, I think. It's one of those things that people don't know what it is, so they don't buy it.
Yeah.
But the people who do buy it always really like it.
Yeah.
I find that with all my records. People have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And then they buy it and they go, "Wow, this is really great." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, really?"
It seems that's kind of like Billy Harvey as an artist,
Because
people,
everybody's going through this.
Yeah.
People like you when they can trust that you're going to be good.
Yeah.
It's a bit of
It's not a criticism.
It's
really.
weird. Musicians are not generally businessmen.
Yeah.
No.
And the people maybe that are mega successful kind of are like businessmen.
Yeah.
But you begin to realize that even for people who are following you, that it's a bit of a branding thing.
Yeah.
It's like, at this point, I'll use me as an example. I've been have tons of side projects too that people that follow me don't know about.
Yeah.
But like
But even if they did, that doesn't necessarily mean, even if they like you, they might not necessarily buy something.
Yeah.
Even if you were the singer and the songwriter in it, if it's got a different name.
For sure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm just cursed with my brand is Salim Nourallah.
Yeah.
Do you want that to be your brand? I don't think so. In Texas? The light of God, the truthful light of God in Arabic? No, you don't.
Probably should have just called yourself the truthful light of God. You would have been a megastar.
That's one of those things. I don't know if you know this, but you definitely don't. I'm Cuban. My parents were both born in Cuba, but I have the blessings of looking like some dude from Iowa.
All right, yeah.
And you have a cool rock and roll name, too.
Thank you.
Johnny Gowdy is Johnny Gowdy rocks.
But when you get introduced on stage and first time by somebody, it's usually Goody.
Goody?
You do the weird, awkward
Really?
correction,
Yeah.
Well,
or just not say anything.
Yeah.
Johnny Goody.
It's terrible. Palo Santo Records. Speaking of a businessman, I thought that was a great part of your conversation with Rhett Miller.
Yeah. Well, I've just as I told Rhett, there's just so much great music.
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan. Like Marty, this is the thing that I've always connected on is we're not just listening to the old stuff. We're still. I hate it when people I heard Captain Sensible of the Dam recently go, "Oh, all new music is bollocks. There's nothing. Nobody's." It's like, oh, you crotchety old man.
Yeah.
No. There's lots of great music. There's lots of garbage.
Yeah. Yes,
but there's
always
lots.
there's probably more great music going on. I mean, it's just not as funneled into the mainstream. There isn't just Hendrix, Jeff Beck, who just passed away. I know he was one of your favorites.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
There's so much great stuff, right?
Yeah, the stuff is still great. Just the people aren't as iconic because there's so many people and everyone is.
You have to dig.
You have to dig. You have to dig.
Also to help. I hear Leish on Spotify and go, whoa. I mean, I'll never forget when I heard Danny Green. stopped in my tracks. His song was so great, his voice, everything. Who is this guy? And then when I really looked into it, he sort of, I felt like he should come to America and he should play in Texas. And there's a couple Australian bands.
There's one you produced, right?
Well,
Or that
not
you're releasing
produced, but,
the record?
But I'm a big fan of Spunk Records, Australia, which is kind of like the what's that hip label in the Pacific Northwest?
Sub Pop.
Sub Pop. They're like the Sub Pop of Australia. And there's this great spunk artist named Aimee Mann, which is another Russack. Seek her out. She's like Beatles good, I swear. And
RUSS what?
Russack. And her last 3 records are amazing. And I was mail ordering a record, and I saw another cover that I really liked. It was by a band called Machine Translations, and the album was OH exclamation point. I never heard them. It wasn't on Spotify. Liked the cover, ordered it. And I found myself listening to this record over the course of a year. I just put it on. It was great in the morning. It was really interesting, sort of like a little bit of Dylan, a little bit of like Tweety, experimental, weird instruments, cool singer, cool lyrics, evocative. But there was nothing online about this band. It was mysterious. And then a year into playing, after I played this record for like the 100th time, I decided to try to find the singer. And he's this guy, Greg Walker, who Marty knows.
I know, yeah.
He lives
could've just asked
outside
Marty.
of Melbourne. I should have. But
He opened for us once in Australia.
And he said about Marty, a lovely guy, and which is true. But so about a year ago, I found a record of theirs called 7/7, which Greg had made in like 09, I had to order like a Norwegian copy on CD for $40. I sound like you, and I just couldn't stop listening to this record. It's so friggin' good, and it irritated me that I had to track it down. It's not on Spotify or anywhere. People can't get it. And then I eventually tracked Greg down through Spunk, and we started corresponding. Turns out we were both born in 67, along with Billy Harvey, my best friend and collaborator. And we hit it off. And now we're in the process of putting out a double vinyl, first time on vinyl release of Machine Translation 7/7
man.
with bonus tracks. Greg went like searching for all these bonus tracks and found like the best tracks that were just sitting. They were on a hard drive in his teenage son's closet in his bedroom. These songs that were just languishing. So that's the thing is like. It's a yawn to me to think of like living out whatever time I have. Just, hey Johnny, have you heard the new Salim Nourallah record? Marty, have you heard my new record? It's like, I'm asleep already. It's. Have you heard this Machine Translations or the new Snowy Band?
Yeah.
Or the new Sammy Strip Matter or.
Well, your new EP is great too.
Well, thanks, but I just fell asleep thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's
I know what you mean.
I want to help other people, and this is the thing too with Marty. I've been on him even this morning. It's like he has all these people that want a piece of him, and it's great. But it's like we need Marty too to like make Marty music, and to keep and to play Marty gigs and to do, and so the challenge for him is to because he's so generous and he's so into all this music and helping others and elevating others.
So are you though. Maybe that's what brings you guys together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we'll have a good sitcom together. We'll be roommates. Marty, you need to help yourself today.
Yeah. I started this thing, a Sessioneers
Yeah,
project thing.
I was going to ask you about that.
And it was kind of like me when I left the X Band. I went and worked in a record store. My dream. I always wanted to work in a record store, and I left the X Band, and I was like, yes, I work in a record store. Fantastic. And I spent 2 years working in a record store.
Spent all his wages. He never got a check.
I never got paid. I just got records.
Yeah.
In Stockholm, in Sweden. So that was really great. But then I started to make some extra income. I thought, well, maybe, as I've been in a band and I'm a bit of a guitarist, I should maybe, try and do a couple of lessons or something. But I'm a very self-taught guitarist. You can't talk to me about scales and theory and
falls asleep.
and I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But so I started off sort of saying, hey, guitar guidance, I called it.
Yeah.
Didn't even call it lessons. I called it guidance. I thought that was more what I might be able to help with, guiding you, not teaching you.
Yeah.
I thought for me it was a huge difference. If I'd said guitar lessons, I didn't feel I was qualified to give guitar lessons because I didn't have the knowledge.
Right.
I just had the feel, you know what I mean, which is hard to teach.
Yeah.
But then I started speaking to people, and people got in touch with me. But eventually I realized that what people really wanted to learn how to do with confidence and with some help was songwriting.
Yeah.
And I changed the name of it to Songwriting and Guitar Guidance Sessions. And so consequently I work with a lot of different people who get in touch with me with their ideas and their projects, and I mentor them into making a proper record.
Yeah. I do that. I'm actually, from here, I'm going to a session that already started in that same, I work with this thing called the Austin Music Foundation here.
Oh, right.
And we have an artist development program where we go and pick like 6 artists every year and like record 2 songs with them in 2 days and go through all the licensing, publishing.
Beautiful.
Well, what's happened is that it's turned into, I've got a few people now who've gone from not really thinking they were ever going to do anything to completing and making a really great record with me in whatever role it is. I mean, the first one I ever got in touch with was this guy called Jed, who would probably listen to this podcast. And
Hi, Jed.
Hi, Jed.
Hi, Jed.
And it's called Space Summit. And he was the first guy that ever got in touch with me. And he's amazing. He's like, we spoke for a long couple of years, 3 years. And one day I said to him, look, I'm going to give you some chords. You go away and write a melody and some words and come back to me. And he went, all right. He came back to me and it was fantastic what he did. I was like shocked. It was so good. I mean, but I was just couldn't believe how good it was. And I did it again and again, and he kept on coming back with amazing things.
You guys ended up writing a record together.
And we ended up writing a record together.
It's out. Beautiful artwork too. Beautiful vinyl edition. But
and it's
what's his name?
The album's called Space Summit. And my record company, because I have a little label here, School Kids Records, which I worked with for years. The owner of that record company heard it and he went, I love this.
Yeah.
And he put it out. So we ended up making a record. I play all the guitars and bass, co-wrote all the songs. Jed sings and writes the words. Dare and I produced it together.
Yeah.
It's everybody really likes it as well. It came out so well. We have 23 new songs. Yeah. It's like we're waiting to make another record. So anyway, that's one example. There's another one called Marty Willson-Piper. There's where Had writes all the songs. I play all the guitars and bass.
Right.
There's one in Australia called Arctic Lake where the Tony writes the songs and I'm the lead singer.
Yeah.
So it has different roles depending what people need. But the last 2 we worked on, I talked to Salim. I said, I've got another couple of sessioneer projects that I need. They're ready to make records. They're ready.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking maybe I should come to Texas to do it in your studio. I mean, they can afford to pay, and maybe we should use your band, the band we worked together with on A Nuclear Winter. So
they're kind of like a wrecking crew.
It's like so I've got this. I've got a crew.
Yeah.
In Texas.
You do.
I'm from Liverpool.
Yeah.
I got a crew in Texas.
I got a crew in Texas, And so I'm bringing acts. It's a win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah.
Salim's studio gets booked. The band gets a gig.
Yeah.
I get a gig. the artist gets to make a record.
We're having loads of fun.
I mean, so it's a great situation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, it is. And then just again, like between the two of us, it's not just him focusing on his thing. It's actually the challenge is he's helping so many other people and helping elevate other people that it's there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
So
And one of them's coming tonight. Fred Arger, who's a guy I worked with recently. His father is a singer-songwriter.
Oh, really?
He's from Minnesota.
From Minnesota.
Yeah, and it turns out he was childhood friends with my buddy Adam Levy, who, from the Honey Dogs.
Oh, wow.
And I've known Adam forever and did a Texas tour with him years ago. So.
And the other one I've just finished in November, which is a massively complicated progressive rock album. It's called Valley of Salt. And Brian is quite religious, and we were working together. And he wanted help with writing songs. He hadn't really written songs before, but he was a really good guitar player. Really, really good guitar player. One day I said he kept on sending me songs with religious themes. One day I said to him, why don't you just... you got to write an album. And I said, what about an album about John the Baptist?
Oh, one specific guy. Yeah.
And now he's written it.
So he went, all right. So he went away.
So they're working on that
and
too.
wrote a complete album
Yeah.
about John the Baptist, and we've been working on it for 6 weeks in Salim's studio
in
Wow.
Texas.
in Texas.
Yeah.
So there's all these projects coming up. But Salim today was telling me that I've got to make an album with Olivia, finish the acoustic album, another album with him, a solo album. Just a me solo album.
Yeah.
I'm apparently got to do all these things.
Yeah. Well, we'll do. We're going to make, some sort of timeline and start,
And touring America, and keeping now that we're allowed to, come and travel
Seriously,
the world.
going through both of your
There's a lot to do.
lives for the last few days was definitely inspiring. I feel like I do a lot of
It
stuff.
wasn't exhausting.
He mustn't have got much
It was
sleep,
exhausting.
I was going to say.
It's like, hey, the Travoltas, that's your band with Paul Slavens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul Slavens can be listening to this if he wants.
Yeah.
Dude, I reached out to that guy. I mean, I was in a band that opened for 10 Hands.
10 Hands.
In the 80s. I did not escape the 80s
Gosh.
as unscathed as you did, my friend. Marty.
That's amazing.
And we were, we did a lot of shows with them, and I love them so much. I can't believe it. I asked him to be on the podcast. He said yeah, and then he ghosted me.
Well,
100%. What'd he say? He hates me.
well, Paul is
He hated the lead singer of Panjandrum.
Paul is a genius.
Yes.
But I'll talk to him about it. And Paul and I have started playing again. We're doing this Travolta's
I was
duo.
watching. Yes, I love it.
And
I wish you guys come down here and do it.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll figure out the right venue.
So I'll go.
I've been told we're like two New York Jewish comedians
Yes.
when we get together.
Yes.
Which my dad would really love.
Yeah.
That, So we're doing that, and we've recorded this sort of Travolta's duo record with songs reimagined, and so that's another thing I'm working on.
Have you met this guy, Marty?
No.
Paul Slavens?
Have I?
I don't think so. Paul was supposed to play one of the gigs with me, but it didn't happen.
The other thing about Paul was in this band called 10 Hands in the late 80s, 90s. That was just like here in Texas was just like, it was like they were like Frank Zappa of Texas.
Oh, wow.
So like
Really
they're just
crazy.
like musicians. If I ever get musicians our age in here that are from Texas, and you just bring up 10 Hands, 15 minutes of the podcast just goes directly to, oh man, remember when they put out The Big One Is Coming? Like it's just like fandom. Massive
now he's
fandom.
got this great Sunday night radio show
Yeah.
on the non-com station in Dallas called KXT. And you would love his show, but
It's a phenomenal musician.
Paul, and just a wonderful human being, and
I always thought
funny
so.
and
Yeah.
smart, and
He's probably just busy.
Yeah.
he's busy.
He's also not a
He's
guy
busy
that wants
being
to
a
promote
genius.
himself.
Yeah,
he's
right.
not. He's
Well,
not
yeah.
a. He's not a big like. Hey, it's me.
He's the
Here's
opposite-
my brand.
Well, he's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite of a businessman.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
truly, a creative,
Yeah.
Yeah.
genius. So
Talking about yourself, it can be quite tedious for one.
And we all come from an era where it wasn't that cool to be like, I'm crushing it, everyone. I'm amazing, right? Like that just wasn't. That was something that people would be like, hey, shut up. That's not cool.
Yeah, no. What we really want to be able to say is, hello. I wonder if you would mind just having a little bit of a listen to what
Exactly.
I did. I think I'm quite proud of it.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. There'll be more Travolta stuff.
Yeah.
so-
Good. All right. Well, let's talk. I want to see you guys in real life because it does look really fun.
Well, we'll talk about it because I'm just now getting reacclimated with coming back down to Austin. It used to be 2, 3, 4 gigs a year, and now I blink and it's been 3 years plus. And
It's been like 10 years since I saw you.
well, it's 10 years since I saw you, but like 3 years and like because of all the disruption.
Yeah.
Like this is the first time it's felt like, oh, this is what I used to do all the time.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get back to regularly getting down here and seeing friends and fingers crossed.
The thing is, there's so many things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many records to make, songs to
Yeah,
write.
yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of projects which I'm working on as well, which we haven't even mentioned.
Jesus.
Which are just like so important to me. I've got this project called Moat.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is with a
Yes,
Swedish guy
yes.
who's in a kind of a quite famous band in Sweden called
Yeah.
the Weeping Willows, Nico, and he's a kind of a film composer. I wasn't going to spout about it, but now I am. He's a film composer
Yeah.
and a guitarist and a pedal steel player and a piano player. So he's a very talented guy, but he doesn't sing or write words. So we were put together by a friend, and we just hit it off and wrote loads of songs together. We've now made 2 albums.
Yeah.
Apparently that's going to happen, another album with him. I mean, there's just so many projects to do.
And I have to talk about one of my projects too. I'm going to invade you.
Yeah.
NHD.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
Nourallah Harvey
I
Deason.
know.
Because this is a Texas
The guy
thing.
was-
Billy Harvey.
I
and
didn't really know much about that.
Alex
The guy was
Deason.
introducing us last night, and he was talking about it.
Alex Deason from the Damn Wells, Billy
Yeah.
Harvey. And so we did a record in 2017. And yesterday night, for the first time, people were like, wow, you guys need to come back to Austin. Because we used to come to
You did-
Austin
You
couple
did a
times year.
show at the Townsend that I was out of town, I remember.
Yeah, it was such good times, and our friend Marty McGuire, the other Marty in my life, joined us and played some fiddle and
like Chicks
Dixie
McGuire.
Chicks,
Yeah.
yeah. So I haven't seen Marty in a few years because of everything, but it's just so much to do. We could sit here for another hour probably talking about all the things to do.
Yeah.
It's reining it in. That's the challenge for
That's
both
the
of
thing,
us. I think. It's
somebody
reining
came
it
up to
in.
me last night. He had a copy under his arm. He had a copy of "Hanging Out in Heaven" vinyl
Marty's solo album.
from 2000. He had a copy of the Brix Smith album. He had a copy of Space Summit album under his arm, which he'd been to the merch table and bought. 3 records he didn't have. He probably had a CD of Hanging Out in Heaven, but 3 albums. And then the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, have you heard the Atlantean Flood album, which is an instrumental album I did with somebody who unfortunately died. It's a very tragic story, but it was Steve who anyway. But there's a great record, and I wanted him to. I didn't want him to spend more money, and I wasn't trying to actually sell it.
Right.
But I was just thought that he's really going to like it, and he should know about it. And if I don't tell him now, in person, it's probably never going to come into his orbit.
Yeah.
And who else is going to tell him if it's not me right now, today, in this moment?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the problem is when you make lots of records and you have lots of different projects, you can't expect everybody to buy everything, even if they're going to really like it.
Yeah. You guys got to go, huh?
Yeah,
man.
We got slowed in. He's going to Waterloo Records to buy more records, and but it's so great.
I was just there the day before yesterday.
My friend William gave me a record yesterday because I've about the In Deep Music Archive.
Yes.
Right. I have 70,000 records. Right. And I'm trying to get it to Portugal where we live as a cultural event. I'm going to want to kind of open it up. as it's something else going on. You know, I want to open it up as this fantastic place of music.
Yeah.
Another project.
Another project, yeah. So, but people, because I've this immense collection and sort of my music knowledge, people often just give me rest. Say, Marty, you got to have this. And my friend William gave me a record yesterday. It's the Beatles' White Album, right? Oh, great. I mean, as if that's a rarity. But it's the Malaysian Beatles' White Album.
Oh, wow.
With Happiness is a Warm Gun omitted from the record.
Oh, wow.
So it's not written where the titles are.
Right.
And it's not on the record.
Definitely
Wow.
not the Texas version.
So, you know, amazing, right? That to me is like
Yeah.
the greatest thing that happened this week is getting that record, because my archive means so much to me as well.
I have one for you.
Yeah.
I have one for you.
Yes.
I'm going to give you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks,
People can
Johnny.
find out all the Marty Willson-Piper stuff is at martywillsonpiper.com. Like all of the
Yeah.
classes, not the.
Oh, Marty Wilson.
Yes, hyphen. Sorry.
Hyphen
Yeah,
dot com.
it'll be in the text.
All
of
right,
the,
double L in hyphen.
Yeah.
double L and hyphen.
Double L in hyphen. Double L in Wilson.
Wilson.
Double L and
Because some
Wilson.
people don't realize that.
Double L and Nourallah.
Yeah, double L in
Double L and Nourallah.
The other thing is, of course, is that people can find out a lot about me and what's going on because
You keep up.
I write a blog every day.
You do. And they're great, by the way. You're a
Thank
great
you.
writer.
Thank you.
And also, it was great watching your show from anyone that can catch this. You and Olivia are amazing together. You and Joe Reyes, always
Thanks.
amazing together. And also, like the.
We
Even
love
the,
Joe.
What?
We love
We
Joe.
love Joe.
I've yet to meet somebody that
doesn't
doesn't
love
just
Joe.
totally love
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, right.
I've yet to meet. I'm looking for that.
Satan.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that.
Well, the whole band as well, you know, John and Jason
Yeah.
and Rich and all the people who was talking
And
about
your
before.
band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who we
They're
all,
all
I mean, I'm
lovely
working with
people.
them as, you know, as producer and band
Yeah.
member and everything, and Paul Averett,
Yeah.
you know, and these people, it's just this great team of people, you know, and they're all super talented and super nice and super flexible.
No
and,
egos.
You know, no egos at
egos.
all. Great studio. It's brilliant.
When does Nuclear Winter come out?
Well, people
You
can
don't
buy
know.
it at the shows.
Okay, buy it at the
yeah,
shows.
but we give it away in May.
Okay.
It comes out on Spotify and all the
Okay.
streaming services. So the way to get it now, it goes through me.
Okay, that's good. Pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to. And you have a really substantial Bandcamp page, which is great.
Bandcamp page.
Yeah.
Do
People-
I?
Yes, you do.
I
Yes,
do.
you do. You can buy a lot of stuff
That
there.
would be
Olivia,
the-
you're a
that would-
fantastic musician. I can't turn any
Yeah.
further and still be on the mic.
She's behind Johnny,
You can
listeners.
yell out loud.
Olivia's behind Johnny.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Olivia knows about all those things about Bandcamp pages and things.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on the show. Thanks for hooking this up. It's great to see
Yeah,
you again.
thank
Stay
you,
in
Johnny.
touch.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us,
so
man.
much.
Really.
Less than a
That was
decade.
tons of fun talking to you.
I want to, whatever you guys do, if you need an extra guy, I'm good. I'm fun. And we all listen to the same records.
What do you do?
All this stuff.
You play guitar, bass, and
He does it all,
piano?
man.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Good to know.
I'm not a great bass
You're
player,
the
but
Scott Thurston of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I love Scott Thurston.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, thanks
It's
again.
one of my idols. Yeah.
Skies full of jewels. The music's flowing.
Salim
just
Nourallah
like
and Marty Willson-Piper. What a great conversation. God damn, that was awesome talking to them. It was. I'm playing you a song from Salim's latest EP, You In Marfa, which is both with him and Marty on it. I want to thank Marty Willson-Piper for coming on the show, his wife Olivia for hanging out. I want to thank Salim for bringing the whole thing together. He's such a fucking soul brother. What a great dude, man. Salim Nourallah. Marty Willson-Piper. Hey, gang, while you're out there, you can find Marty Willson-Piper at martywilson-piper.com. And that's Wilson with 2 L's, as he said on there. And you can find Salim Nourallah at salimnourallah.com. I'll put the links in the text of the body of this podcast. I do want to thank them again for coming. I want to thank you for listening. If there are new people listening, you can find us. We have new shows every Tuesday and every Friday. You can subscribe to us on any of the podcast streaming networks, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher. Anywhere you get shows, you'll get new episodes of How Did I Get Here every Tuesday and every Friday. Also, I drop From the Vault episodes on Saturday nights sometimes. So subscribe and you'll get an alert Follow us, baby. Follow us. All right. Have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Come see Skyrocket tonight. If you're listening to this on Friday, January 20th, and you live in Austin. And get out there, man. Thanks again, Salim. Thank you. That was really awesome. Awesome. Marty Willson-Piper and Salim Nourallah. Have a great weekend. Let's get down.
Hold on to the night before you give it away. Hold on to the night before you let in the day. You wanna dance and go ahead. All your big plans can go to bed. If the cops show up, I bet they'd stay to join the fun before it goes away. Ice cream in the bath. Lay on your pillow, close your eyes. You've had some fun and now you're tired. So wake up before you let in the day. It comes another day. It comes another day. Wake up, work, no play. Good luck keeping the stress at bay.